Hello, I'm Chris.
And I'm Cherie.
We are known online as Technomadia, and we are also the founders and hosts of the Mobile Internet Resource Center.
Now, we've been traveling full-time by both RVs and now boats since 2006. And the entire time, we've been working remotely utilizing mobile internet.
And staying connected is, of course, super important to us. And for any of you who also work on the road, connectivity is probably one of your most essential needs.
So for those of us that rely on mobile internet for our livelihood, internet isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have. It's what enables us to be mobile and still earn our incomes.
So today we want to share and dive into some of our top tips, our top 10 tips for doing this successfully, staying connected and working successfully while on the road, on the water.
Now, this video goes along with our more in-depth guide, which you can find at mobileinternetinfo.com/work, that you can reference for additional details on each of these little topics that we're going to overview in this video.
So let's dive in. So our number one tip for working successfully on the road is having redundant ways to get online. Whether it's AT&T and Verizon or Wi-Fi and cellular, different combinations is so critical because one option is not always going to be the best everywhere.
All right, tip number 2 is make sure you understand what the minimum work requirements are for your mobile internet needs. If your employer requires that you have a wired internet connection, know what they exactly mean by that. Do they actually want you plugged into cable or DSL, which you're going to rarely find on the road? Or do they just want you not using public Wi-Fi networks but might be less secure? They're all over the map, so you're going to have to dig deeper into those work requirements if you have them. Know what your minimum download and upload speeds are. If your requirements are involving large files or video broadcasts, then your requirements are going to be a lot higher than someone who might just need to handle emails and process documents. Also know how much data a month you are going to need and make sure you have enough of it to get through for the month without stressing about it too much.
Tip number 3. No matter how tempting it is, because you see signs everywhere of free Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi at this campground, Wi-Fi at this marina, free Wi-Fi at the McDonald's, if you're going to be working on the road, you cannot rely on Wi-Fi all the time. If you find great fast Wi-Fi, it's a good thing. It might be nice to take advantage of it if the security issues do not concern the work you're doing. But for the most part, you'll find that free Wi-Fi and public Wi-Fi varies so much in speed and connection quality that you cannot count on it if it is critical to your work. You always have to have other ways to online, and the Wi-Fi is just a bonus when you find it.
All right, tip number 4, and that's understanding cellular data plans. Cellular data is likely going to be a part of your setup. It is for many of us RVers and cruisers. It's fairly easy to get, it's fast, it's secure, and it's in a lot of places where we want to travel and go to. But the cellular data plans can get a little bit confusing, especially with all the carriers now offering quote-unquote unlimited data plans that really have quite a few limits in there. The most important one to understand is mobile hotspot use. So that's data that you can use to get things like a computer online or a streaming device or other devices online using your cellular data, and you do that by either creating a personal hotspot off of your cellular phone or using a dedicated data device like a mobile hotspot. Now, not all data plans include a usable limit of mobile hotspot use that is fast. Like a lot of unlimited plans only include 15 gigabytes of high-speed unlimited use, and then it is throttled down to slow speeds. But the on-device data, but things that you do actually on your smartphone or even your tablet, that is unlimited and only subject to something called network management. Now, network management just means that if you're on a congested tower, you might be slowed down during times of congestion as a way for the carriers to manage their networks. So you really have to understand how much data you need and how much you can use on device. Like, are you okay doing your video conferencing from a tablet? Then an unlimited tablet plan may make a lot of sense in your setup. But if you need data to get a computer online for your work, then you need to concentrate on your hotspot data that's coming either from your smartphone's hotspot or using a dedicated data device. And we have a guide to this that goes over a lot more information, so be sure to follow up with what the current options are.
Our next tip for staying connected successfully while traveling is to research your route and your destinations in advance so you have an idea of if you'll be able to stay connected with the ways online you have with you. One of the things we strongly recommend is just research your carrier's coverage maps in advance. Know if they provide service in the places you're going, and we actually wrote an app for that called Coverage that lets you create your own custom coverage map of, say in this case it's T-Mobile and AT&T combined. Other things you should do is refer to crowdsourced apps like OpenSignal and Ookla to see where other users have reported speeds, the places you're going, and then particularly check out review sites like Campendium or Active Captain to see what sort of network connectivity people have reported. Having an idea of what to expect can take a lot of the stress off of going off into the unknown.
So if you have a big work deliverable or a conference call scheduled or something like that, don't mix repositioning days with work days. Your repositioning days, there's so much that can happen. Traffic that you might encounter, bad weather. You might get to your site and find out you have bad power, or you have other obstacles that you have to deal with when you get in. And then you have to optimize your mobile internet setup to make sure that it's going to work at this new location or what is going to be your best option. If you have a big work deliverable, like as soon as you pull into your site, that's going to be stressful. And you might not have the internet that you think that you're going to need when you get there. Maybe the tower's down, maybe the signal's really weak and you just haven't had time to aim your antenna. So what we do is we plan our big work deliverable days around our driving schedule so that we're not arriving on the same day that we have to do a webcast or we have to do a meeting with somebody or that we have to deliver a big file. So get in the night before or a day or two before. Travel on weekends if your work days are during the week. Just reduce the stress.
Another very important tip is using cellular boosters and or antennas to get a better signal and faster speeds and more reliable connection when you're on the road. So booster like this WeBoost Drive 4GX or a very affordable antenna like this Netgear Mimo that just plugs directly into a hotspot can sometimes make a tremendous difference in your ability to get connected. But they aren't always the best tool, and sometimes one is better than the other, so it helps to have multiple options online. And one very important tip is if you do use a booster, don't use it all the time. Boosters are not meant to be used everywhere, and in strong signal areas, using a booster can actually slow you down. So always do a test to find out, is it helping or hurting you?
All right, your next tip. When you are testing what is the best mobile internet option at your new location and you're like comparing Verizon to AT&T or the campground's Wi-Fi, is don't rely just on the bars that are reported by your device. Bars are kind of meaningless, actually. They just are a quick indication of how much signal strength you have, but they don't necessarily tell you what your internet data speeds are going to be or how reliable they're going to be, which that is the most important thing when you're talking about mobile internet and data connections. So what we do is we run several speed tests. Here I'm using the Ookla speed test app. Just run a speed test, find out what your upload and download speeds are, and make sure they are the minimum that you're going to need to do what you need to do.
One other very important tip is to always test out and know what your backup options are wherever you go, because it never fails. You might be in the middle of a conference call or doing a video conference of some sort, and suddenly the connection drops, or the cell signal you're on gets really unreliable, or that your neighbor starts streaming Netflix, or we've even had cell towers be turned off for maintenance. So just like jumping out of an airplane, having a reserve parachute, you want to know that you can trust your reserve connection, and you've already tested it, and it is ready to swap in quickly if something goes down mid-workday.
All right, tip number 10 is a repeat of tip number 1, which is redundancy. We cannot stress it enough. It is so important that you have more than one option to get online and try at every location. The best option is the one that works best at your current location. And us nomads, that's the variable in our life. Our locations are changing and signal strengths can vary so widely on how far you are from a tower, what your signal enhancing options are, or the tower load or how congested the local Wi-Fi network is. So many things can play a role that take down your mobile internet connectivity that you might need to go to plan B, plan C, maybe even plan D sometimes. And sometimes you might need to go out and find a cafe with good workable Wi-Fi. Sometimes it's things that are outside of your control. Like just recently on this 7730 MiFi device, they pushed a firmware update that made it unreliable for about a month until they got it corrected. There's so many things that can go wrong in mobile internet stuff. Is you can do your part by having backup options ready to go. If mobile internet is essential for your livelihood, it's essential that you provide for that.
Now, these tips were just scratching the surface, and there is a ton more to know and a ton deeper to go in each one of these topics.
And in a video like this, we obviously can't go into the specifics of the solutions of what you should be considering. This stuff changes all the time, which is why it's our full-time job keeping on top of mobile internet.
So in addition to sharing our videos here on the Technomadia channel, we actually have our whole work life, the Mobile Internet Resource Center, where we have another video channel.
So go over and subscribe to that. We publish little news stories as things change. We put out little guides that you can go and get more information. And then, of course, head on over to the mobileinternetinfo.com website, which is where we keep the repository of, I think it's over 900 different guides and product reviews and information that we have collected over the past 4 years since we started this website.
Great resource.
Oh, you say so, huh?
It is a great resource. And we supported a lot of this information there is completely free. We do have a premium member tier if you want to go deeper and support our work and keeping up on top of all of this.
We don't do advertising. We don't do sponsorships. We're not driven by trying to sell you gear. We try to keep unbiased, and we do that by being community supported, and it's our premium members that make it all possible for us. So if mobile internet is essential for you, you might want to consider becoming a member, and then we can help you more individually in our Q&A forums and with webinars and our more in-depth content. But there's a lot of free content there that you can dive into, and we do also host a free Facebook group, Internet for RVers and Cruisers, that you're welcome to join, and our staff can help point you to information.
So mobileinternetinfo.com, we look forward to seeing you there.
All right. Happy travels.
Okay.